Coming up on this week's Towncast Pembroke, we'll be chatting about Christmas markets. We'll be talking about the Castle Pond. We'll be talking about newsagents. Where did you get your newspaper? All that, a whole load more on this week's Towncast Pembroke. And welcome back to this week's edition of the Towncast Pembroke Towncast with me, Lee G. What a weird week last week. Just absolutely off the scale, the amount of rainfall and nowhere for it to go. So that will obviously be our chatty bit today. Loads and loads of opinions. Thank you for your comments on the social media videos as well. We are expecting more rain this week. Your Tuesday, Wednesday, and possibly Friday, Saturday. We're expecting some quite nasty weather, so it'll be I won't say interesting, but we'll see what happens again, and we'll try and keep everybody in the loop, which is the point of what we're doing. What I will say for those that want to comment negatively on our social media, it's not a place for it. There's people that are facing real issues, and you want to try and make a political point about your political party and all it. It's not the place for it. So those comments will be deleted, as will those that are offensive. So and when I say offensive, to me, and if you don't like it, don't comment. Simple as that. It's if you don't like the fact that somebody will remove your comment, then don't put a stupid comment on there. Okay, it's really as simple as that. We What we're trying to do, we're trying to share information for people in the town. We're trying to generate some positivity, some goodwill in the town centre, and around the town. So yeah, if you're just going to sit there and be grumpy and miserable, well, there's plenty of other places you can do that. So I promised you last week that this week we were going to have the Christmas market listing, and I'll give you a little bit of background on this. Okay, so I've done kind of like the Pembroke Dock, the Tenby, Haverfordwest. I'm gonna try and do Fishguard and Milford as well. And I started searching, and I went, this can't be right. It can't be just like three or four events. There's got to be more than this. There's got to be more than this. And then I started digging, and then I started looking at a few other things. And then the Facebook algorithm kicked into place and went, so you're looking for Christmas events. And oh my God, there are loads of them. So this week we are going to do Christmas events, plus a couple of other events that are on in town anyway. And then next week I'm going to do restaurants, places to go, places that have got kind of Christmassy meals, Christmas Day meals, those kind of things. So if you want to tag me on those as well, that will be great. That'd be fantastic. I'm not going to pretend that this is all of the events that are going on, because, like I say, there are some that I purposely left out just because there are some places that have got 5, 6, 7 events on in between now and Christmas. So what I would say is have a look on their Facebook pages. All of the stuff that I'm about to show you comes from Facebook pages. So and I think there's one or two. We're about to go to the website to get a bit more information. But if you want to, this is the place. Social media is the place to go to find the information. I'll try and share this on socials again, but it's just not working. The files are too big for that, so it'll just be. I'll probably share it as a clip or something like that. Okay, so obviously we start with Pembroke Christmas Market. Now, if I say to you this is huge, okay, this is now like the Pembrokeshire market to go to. I think from what I've heard, we could double the size of this with the amount of people that want to be a part of it. We could put ice rinks in there. We could put cinemas in there. People would flock to this. So um, make the most of it. This is on your doorstep. Go and visit this, and I'll tell you a couple of others as well. So 28th to the 30th. So on the 28th, Santa arrives at 6:30. But if you look at this here, yeah, that opens at 10 a.m. on Friday the 10th. And I think that's new. I think I remember previously it would open about 3, 4 o'clock, and then Santa would arrive at 6:30 on the and then Santa turns on the lights and all of this kind of stuff. There was a time where Santa came by helicopter. I don't know if that's still the case. But yeah, so Saturday 10 till so Friday 10 till 8, Saturday 10 till 6, Sunday 10 till 4. Now, if you're like me, you'll visit all 3 days and you'll buy Christmas presents on the Friday, and then you'll drink them or eat them on the Friday night, and then have to go buy more on the Saturday, and you'll say no. I have to make sure that this, and then you'll have to go back and buy more on the Sunday. So just the way it is. So that's the big one. That's the big one. 28th to the 30th, Christmas market, Pembroke Castle. There's going to be loads of people in town on that weekend, so just be aware. If you can walk, walk. Trust me on that one. Okay. Also, same weekend, okay, and you'll see a couple of bits of this now. So Friday the 28th, Saturday 29th, Sunday the 30th, 10 till 9 p.m., 10 till 7 p.m., 11 till 5 p.m. So you've got a little bit of variation there. So this is virtually right opposite the castle. Okay, so this is the courtyard market. So this is all local artisan stuff. We will talk a lot as we go forward. We'll do some stuff on buy it local Saturday and all of those kind of things. But we talk a lot about buying stuff locally and supporting the local economy. And this is a great way to do it. If you go into the castle, take half an hour, pop over the road, and go and have a look at the courtyard market as well, because all of these guys are based in Pembroke. They're from Pembroke. Castle drags in a lot of people from outside of Pembrokeshire. You know, you will have people there from Neath, Cardiff, Mid Wales, North Wales. Sometimes that's how far people come to that market. So to keep it local, we've got the market on at the courtyard. Also, we've also got one at Pembroke Town Hall. So you're gonna have to forgive me. What I did was I just started adding this. I tried to put it in order, and it just got more and more and more and more and more. Anyway, so Santa Claus is coming to Pembroke Town Hall. That is on December the 7th, 4 till 7. It's a free ticket. You do need to get a ticket just so they know how many people to come and do. So Father Christmas comes himself. There's a fancy castle in the shape of a snow globe. I remember doing this with my kids. We used to do breakfast with Santa on a Saturday morning. That used to be fun as well. But this is December 7th, 4 till 7 at the town hall. Well worth going to that one. So we've also got, this is what I was looking for, in the town hall, again, 20th, 29th. So this is the same weekend as the castle. Okay. So this is a bit more, how can I describe this? From the impression I get, it's a bit more hippie-ish. It's a bit more traditional crafts. It's a bit more. If you're looking for a unique gift, okay, and you can't find one at the in the courtyard market, then this is your next stop, because this is artsy, crafty, but a bit more spacey. This is a bit more unique. So that will be Friday, Saturday, Sunday again, 11 till 3, 10 till 5, 10 till 4. The good thing with that is it's indoors. It's so if it is a bit windy and what have you, that's got the benefit of being indoors on that one. Okay. Other Christmas markets then. So Lamphey Village Hall, this is November 22nd. 10 till 4. yeah, lots of interesting things going on with that one. Saunders Foot Harbour, so you've got a Christmas market there, December 5th to the 7th. That's daily from 10 a.m. Doesn't say what time it finishes, but it's usually around the 6, 7 o'clock mark. I think a lot of that depends on how wet it is, in all honesty, and how busy it is. You've also got then, so I like this one. So, the Great Wedlock Deer Park. So, this is kind of like they've got a permanent arts and crafts market there with lots of local suppliers that do display stuff there all through the year. So, they've got basically every weekend. Yeah. So, 6th and 7th, 13th, 14th, 20th, 21st. They've got Santa's Grotto, loads of art and craft. Again, Pembrokeshire based. It's a bit. It's the courtyard one is very Pembroke based. This is Pembrokeshire based. So you'll have Tenby, Narberth, Milford, those kinds of places. All demonstrate they will sell their products through there. So that's well worth going there. It is only open on the weekends, and again, I think it's kind of 10 till 6. But if you go onto the Facebook page, Great Wedlock, they've got a bit more information on there. But that looks like a good one to go to because that's quite new as well. That's quite new on that one. So this is looks quite cool as well. So this is more of a solstice celebration at Manorbier village. So this is in 3 locations in Manorbier. This is at Manorbier House, Manorbier, the Castle Inn, and the Reading Rooms. So this is on the 20th, midday till later. It's an artisan market, festive food, like music, DJs carousing around the tree. It's a bit kind of festive. That's what it is. It's a bit festive. And if you're going to call it Solstice Eve, then somebody needs to be singing Ring Out Those Solstice Bells by Jethro Tull. And I'm going to leave that one there and move on. Next one, again, kind of same weekend, Friday 28th, Saturday 29th, Sunday 30th. So this is in Narberth. So this is a Christmas market in Narberth. And again, so we've got 10 to 5, 10 to 4, 10 to 4 on that one. We've got another one in Pembroke. You see, there's a lot going on in Pembroke. We are blessed this year. So I think this is part of another. So this is Saturday the 22nd. So if I just scroll back up, this is not this one here. No, so that's the week after. Okay, because so this is on the 22nd. Okay. Um, and I think there's a couple of others in there, but this is the Green Acres um Christmas fair, basically. So there'll be lots of things going on there, but that is for fundraising for Green Acres Animal Rescue on that one. So that's Saturday the 22nd from the 11th. So that's not a Friday, Saturday, Sunday job. That is just on Saturday the 11th. Sorry, Saturday the 22nd from the 11 a.m. on that. Okay, so Penna Hall, we always expect lots of events up at Penna Hall. If you haven't been to Penna Hall for anything, then damn, go and see it. So this is one of the ones where I haven't put all of their things up, but there's lots and lots of things going on at Penna Hall. Go to their Facebook page and have a look because there's something there I guarantee you will like. I purposely not shared the quiz because I quite fancy going and I quite fancy winning the Christmas quiz on that one. Um, community Christmas event, visit from Santa, stores, refreshments, more. That's Friday the 5th, 2 till 4 on that one. Okay. You've also got craft with your kids. So this is on Saturday the 13th, 10 till 11:30, Penna Hall. So this workshop is 4 to 6 year olds. It's £15 each, but if you've got more than one, then there's offers available. I think it's Stickman isn't a Christmas, but it's become a Christmas story. Santa does appear in the Stickman book because he comes down the chimney and Santa helps him get back home. But yeah, it's weird how Stickman has become a very festive kind of thing. So it's based around the Stickman, all the arts and crafts there based around Stickman. So For those over six, you've also got a wreath and wrapping workshop. Now, if you're clever on this, okay, so this is on Saturday the 22nd again, 10 till 12, okay. If you're clever on this, you will teach your kids how to wrap presents, okay, or you'll get somebody else to teach them how to make presents. I've always fancied making a wreath. I don't think that I'd be able to sneak my way into that one, I'll be honest with you. But that's 20 quid for the wreath and wrapping workshop on there. Again, if you go onto the Penna Hall Facebook page and you can book through there as well. So 15th and 16th. So this is Saturday 15th, Sunday the 16th, 10 to 3, Regency Hall in Saundersfoot. They've got a Christmas craft market there. Quite like the look of this one. Okay, there's a danger that they all become a little bit samey and you get the same kind of people going from same stalls one to another. But this is a Dickensian Victorian Christmas at Scolton Manor. Okay, so it's more of a Christmassy event than buying things, but there are things there. So there's parlor games. There's making your Christmas crackers, decorating gingerbread men. The outside Christmas trail was quite fun last time I did it. It's £4 per child. You will need to book, and the details are down the bottom there. I think just having something a bit, it's different, and doing it in that Dickensian kind of way is quite fun on that. So you've also got a children's festive workshop. This is at Scolton Manor as well on 22nd. Is that the same one? Is that the same day? No, so the Victorian Christmas is on Monday the 1st to Thursday the 4th, Wednesday the 10th, Thursday the 11th of December. So it's a little bit dotted around. Whereas this one is on the 22nd, 10 and 11. Come and make your festive cards and decorations natural. This is using, I've seen this before. It's really cool. Using natural colors. So I don't know if they'll show you how they make the colors, but just getting grinding up leaves, grinding up flowers, or grind. There's one where you can grind up um a type of rock, and it comes out like this bright orange. It's really bizarre stuff. But yeah, well worth going to that if that's your kind of thing. Again, booking information there at naturalcolour.co.uk on that. So a bit closer to home, then we've got Santa's Grotto returns to Carew Castle. Again, you know when the Carew Castle's doing it, it's going to be a bit more traditional. It's going to be something different. So again, it's finding those unique experiences that makes Christmas in Pembrokeshire something special. So hidden within the castle, the grotto will be open every Saturday and Sunday from the 29th to the 14th of December from 10 till 4. Okay, so that's your Santa's grotto in there, but there's also lots of other things going on at Carew Castle, including the glow illuminations. Now, I tried to go to this. I no one last year. I think it was the year before, and it's when we had that really nasty storm, and then it all got cancelled and what have you. But meant to be really good, meant to be really nice. This year they've got choirs there as well. I think they're still looking for choirs and performers if you want to get in touch with them if that's your thing. But yeah, well worth going to have a look at the list. You do need to book as well. If you go onto their Facebook page, you'll get the information there on that as well. So there you can see the Carew Castle Glow from the 28th of November. I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and weekends, but it's a really good thing to go. Have a look on the Carew Castle Facebook page for more details on this. So Picton Castle again. Now, again, on this, a little bit more, a little bit different, a little bit kind of oldie worldy on that, which is quite nice. So if you're looking at that and thinking, why is Father Christmas in green? That's because it's the original colours. That's how it was before Coca-Cola got hold of him. So meet Santa at Picton Castle, December 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, which is a nice kind of a stretch on that. You do need to book anything. Things like festive crafts, mulled wine. mm, I say it's a bit more kind of traditional, more than if you're going for a quality kind of Father Christmas experience, then that's the one for you on that. So 22nd, 23rd, again, we've got the Winter Craft Fair. So this is at Picton Castle as well. Okay, so there's a couple of bits and bobs on there. They very kindly put it into a single sheet, which makes life so much easier. So Winter Craft Fair on the 22nd, 23rd. December 6th is the wreath making workshop. December 18th is Christmas by candlelight, which I think is kind of singing and carols and things like that. And then you've got 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd is the Victorian Father Christmas, as we just said. Go onto their Facebook page or their website for more information on that one. So this is a bit further away. This is Melin to Gwyd, but again, what I'm doing is trying to get as much options out there for you as you can, so that if you fancy doing something different, then you've got somewhere to go. So Melin to Gwyn, lovely place to go to. If you don't know why you know the name Melin to Gwyn, it's because they do really soft. They're a traditional mill, and they make blankets and cushions and things like that. But they've been on various places in Hollywood and shows, and various famous people ship their they'll purposely seek out Melin Gwent for the quality of their product on that. So they've got a Christmas fair on the 15th and 16th, 10 till 5 on the 15th, 10 till 4 on the 16th. Lots of stalls, lots of local stuff. Cafes, they've got a nice cafe going over there. It is a bit of a trek, okay, and it is in the middle of nowhere. If you're thinking, oh, I might do something different, I might go somewhere special, that's the postcode SA625UX. I promise you, it's a really nice place to go on that. So, if you're kind of more of a Haverfordwest kind of person, so on Thursday the 27th, they'll be hosting a hoist the holly, tease the tinsel, and muse over the mistletoe. Basically, Haverhub is a really cool. This is we need a Haverhub version of Haverhub in Pembroke. Yeah, we need a community hub. Loads of stuff going on there. So it's basically an invitation to go and decorate Haverhub on that. Um, so there'll be lots of things. Mulled wine. Yeah, we love a bit of mulled wine. And all sorts of things. That's 5:30 till 8. But even if you go and think, do you know what, how can we do something like this in Pembroke? There's quite a few places in Pembroke which are not currently used. We need a community hub in Pembroke. This might be an idea to steal some ideas off them. And we also have, as always, is the Folly Farm Christmas weekend. So visit Santa's Grotto. Well, there's a few other bits. There's a few people in costumes around, gingerbread trails, those kind of things. The zoo is open. The more importantly, the indoor fair is open as well, which is probably what you're going to be looking at if you go in there at this time of year on that. Okay. Other events that we've got coming up then. So Saturday the 13th. So I've put this as a separate event because it's not a Christmas market or anything like that, but it is Christmas related. So we've got the Three Amigos Christmas Toy Run. That will be on Saturday the 13th from the Commons car park at 1. I think they started that on a Sunday, didn't they? And then they moved it to the Saturday. So yeah, so that's on Saturday the 13th, 1 o'clock at from the Commons. So we've also got, so this is at the Cromwell's. So yeah, so this is at Cromwell's. So I've taken this off their page. self-care workshop on November the 20th, 5 p.m. Yeah, Cromwell's Gastro Bar, blah, 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 skincare workshop, etc., etc., etc. Perfect for I mean, it's aimed at ladies. No reason why us gents can't go. Oh, sort out the skincare and there. But it's a lovely little event to go to just before Christmas. That's on November the 20th. Give you some ideas about skincare for Christmas. Then we've also got this week. So at the castle on the 15th, we've got Bad Influence that I've been told are a very good band. Not my thing, but I've been told they're a really good band. Well worth going. And then on the 15th at 8:30, this is out to the Highgate. We've got Band of Brothers, which are a ska band, I believe. By the looks of the advert, it's a ska band. So yeah, off you go to that one. And on a more serious note, to finish up with, down at the Pater Hall, Friday the 21st, it's time to give blood. Probably do that before you start all your Christmas celebrations. It is that time of year where people need it more than most. There's loads of stuff that happens in the dark and the wet weather and the festivities. So if you can donate, now's the time to do it. So that's at the Pater Hall on the 21st, and you can get in touch with the blood service before then if you want to. So next week I will be doing food and parties. Um, yeah, so if you've got, like I say, there's loads of places around that are doing Christmas menus. Send me them, tag me in them, whatever, and I will do the same next week for Christmas food and Christmas parties, and that'll be great. Fan Dabby Dozy. So absolutely no reason to be sat at home this festive season. When I started, as I said in that little clip, when I started looking, and you can't really find many, and that goes back to the bits I've been saying about before. The easier you make your event to find, and the more tag words you put in there, the easier it is for people to find it, and they will share it for you. So yeah, lots of good stuff going on with that. So let's talk. I remember. So it was again, loads of these just come from my kids and conversations I have with my kids more than anything. And we were talking about newspapers, you know. So did you used to get your newspaper delivered? Or did you used to have did you used to go to the newsagent? Because I remember there being way more newsagents than there are now. This is back when we bought newspapers. I remember we used to have this is before kids. We used to give ourselves a bit of a treat. We'd have a line on a Sunday morning. We get the Sunday papers delivered. And that would pretty much take us through the week to read them, because you'd have the supplements and then the magazines and then the TV pages and all of that's kind of gone. Because if I get a lie-in on a Sunday now, damn, I'm sleeping. Because yeah, the two just don't. Just if you get a chance of a lie-in, then you take it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I remember. I'm sure Haggers used to be a news agent. So what's now out? They're upstairs of out above what used to be the cinema. So I'm sure that used to be a news agent. But I'm sure. So there was David and Helen's as well, which still is. Um, so that's got a new name now on it. So it's not David and Helen's, but you know the shop. I mean. And then, but I'm sure there were others across Main Street. And then down the far end, you got what's now Robinson's. That used to be a newsagent as well. But there must have been more than that. There must have been, because, you know, way back in, take the 70s and 80s, where that was your thing, really. If you back then, if you had your paper delivered, you were posh. And I was explaining to my kids that the the principle of having a newspaper around in the morning. So you'd get up and you'd deliver newspapers before you went to school, and you'd deliver them on your bike, and then you'd be in the middle of winter and you'd make sure you got your light on if you were lucky. But yeah, you just deliver newspapers. And it would never be massive. You have like two or three streets, something like that, and there'd be like four or five of you, and you wouldn't earn much. You'd earn a little bit of pocket money for the weekend. Um, but yeah, just an alien concept to kids was this thing about you having that was usually one of your first jobs, was being a paper boy and delivering papers. So yeah, I'm sure. Now the card shop. So we've already established that where the card shop is, that used to be a petrol station. How, I don't know, but that used to be a petrol station. So I'm assuming they sold newspapers in there as well. But yeah, I am struggling on this one because there must have been more pubs. Pubs, I can name, quite a few of the pubs that have closed, and point them out. Maybe we'll do that one next week. But yeah, give me your thoughts on newsagents. There must have been, Lampthe Road, so what's now Morrison's, that obviously would have been one, but that would have come later as that side of town kind of grew. So, but what about Monkton? Monkton must have had one. Hundleton must have had one. Angle. So I know there used to be a shop in Angle that sold newspapers. It was the village shop, so it sold everything. Was there one of those in Hundleton? Because I don't remember one, but it might have. I didn't drive through Hundleton much, I'll be honest. But there must have been something there. So yeah, let me know, because I am genuinely really struggling on this. I can't imagine the whole of Pembroke and Lampthe and Angle and Hundleton all being, Castle Martin all being delivered from a couple of shops in Pembroke. Obviously, as news has developed, and your phones and supermarkets and this, that, the other, the the whole newspaper thing has kind of gone out the window. And you remember the Telegraph? You used to get the Telegraph. Let's get this. So if you say to kids now, the Telegraph used to have a circulation of about 70,000 just in Pembrokeshire, but lots of people used to get it delivered away as well, as a way of staying in touch with home. I know a couple of my family was, so my nan would buy like three or four copies of the Telegraph and send one to family in Scotland, one to family in Switzerland. So yeah, and I know lots of people do still do that every now and again, where they'll send newspapers to family around the world as people have spread. But yeah, so talk to me about your where you used to get your newspaper. It's a very, very different world now. And I'm struggling to remember. I used to get mine from Robinson's, but I'm struggling to remember where the others were. So that's this week's I remember, or it's more of an I don't remember, to be honest. I'd love to remember where the newsagents were on Main Street. There must have been more. There must have been more out in the sticks. There must have been one in Monkton, one in Lampthe, one in Angle, one in Hundleton, one in Castle Martin, one, where were they? Who used them? Did you used to be a paper boy or a paper girl? Let me know, because that'll be really cool to establish exactly the same as when we did this on petrol stations. And people were telling me about petrol stations now. There's no way Pembroke used to have five petrol stations. But yeah, we did. We did. Okay, let's let's move on from that quickly then to this week's chatty bit. So before we do the chatty bit, as always, please do let me know if you want to come and join me. We've now launched the Towncast Tenby, Towncast Haverfordwest. We're recruiting people for those. So next in line is Milford, Narber, Fishguard, and St David's. So yeah, I would love to get somebody on to Towncast Pembroke to kind of chat to someone because it's getting quite lonely. But if you fancy being a part of the future of Towncast Pembroke, please do let me know. I love towncast at gmail.com. Okay, let's discuss the floods and all of those kind of things. Before we do that, I just want to quickly touch on the news. Normally I do the news in the events, but I recorded the events separately because I did a whole load of them. So uh, yeah, in the news this week there was an incident on Main Street over the weekend, and Sunday morning. I think it was a bit more kind of visible because Sunday morning Remembrance Parade was marching straight past a police crime scene. So, and I've seen loads of stuff on socials of people saying quite horrid comments about stuff. But here's the reality. Here's the reality. So one, if you're going to make a fuss and a song and a dance about that incident, then there are a whole load of other similar incidents that happen throughout the week, the month. There are loads of other incidents that you are not um, making a big song and a dance about, and you need to ask yourself why. Why is it that I'm picking on this one and not all I'm going to ignore all the other ones. I'm going to ignore all the domestic violence. I'm going to ignore all the other inappropriate behaviors. I might even make a joke about some of the other ones, but this one is wrong. You need to ask yourself before you press send on those messages, ask yourself, why is this one different for you? Because to me, that kind of violence is wrong, regardless of who does it. But to make a song and a dance about one particular one and ignore all the others, you need to question why. The second bit is, one, we don't know the details, and that's right. What's happening is the police are investigating. They will find out the information, and then there will be a trial, and then we will know. And like it or lump it, none of our business until then. If there is a danger to wider society, then the police would let us know, but there isn't. So all of the people kind of trying to make something of this, you need to have a serious conversation with your self-conscience, because what you're trying to do, and this is my point on this, what you're trying to do is whip up something that that isn't there. And I'll leave this one thought before I move on to the chatty bit. So we pride ourselves on this massive, great big 30-foot high display that says Pembroke remembers. Yeah. What does Pembroke remember? Does Pembroke remember why we fought? Does Pembroke remember what we fought against? Or does Pembroke only remember certain sections that fit into a political narrative that certain people want to exploit right now? And that's my question to those people that are trying to make something out of that, but just isn't there. They're trying to make a political point that isn't there. And at some point in the news this week, our new town councillor will be announced, and I'm not connecting the two, but I'm saying that if if we don't let people know straight away that Pembroke is a welcoming, accepting place for all sorts of people, um, then we go downhill on that. Okay, let's. Sometimes you just got to do serious stuff. Sometimes you've got to do serious stuff, and when people are saying the stuff that they're saying, and I've had a look at a lot of those comments. A lot of them come from people who are further away and linked to Voice of Wales. So if you're a Voice of Wales idiot, just nick off now. Just disappear. I'm not interested. Okay, let's discuss the floods again last week. I know we touched on it last week, and then it got a little bit worse with it. And I tried to do some videos to kind of show what it was. It actually got worse. There was the day of the rainfall, which I think was Tuesday, maybe Tuesday, and then Wednesday was. But then by Thursday, combination of the high tides, a lot of the water coming through the massive um, basin. I don't think people understand just how big that basin is. That's a really, really tiny set of streams. So to either side of Main Street. So you've got one stream comes in the back of Holyland, Holyland Woods, and then comes down into the back of um, Mill Pond. And then you've got the stream that comes the other side that runs along the commons, and that goes into Castle Pond. But the basin, the drainage basin for those is huge. It's out St. Florence, Manabia sometimes, it goes way, way out. Um, Lots of bits of Colchester. It's a big basin that drains into there slowly, slowly. So when you've got a massive basin like that, you've got that initial hit of there was a lot of rain in Pembroke, but then you've got lots of rain draining into rivers, tributaries, and then coming through as well. So yeah, it, to try and filter that amount of water through the tiny little drainage holes was quite shocking. And I've seen lots of solutions being bandied around. Um, I've seen somebody angry because why have we got all this flooding and I can't buy shoes in Pembroke? And I see that comment a lot. Somebody really, really wants to buy shoes in Pembroke. And it's their bugbear that they can't buy shoes in Pembroke. But somehow they connect that to the flooding, and I've no idea how. Um, so maybe they want to buy belly. Maybe that's it. So for me, yes, there was a system put in place. I think late 80s. I think it was tweaked late 90s, and when we adjusted the course of the river. If you remember the stream that used to run down the commons, basically used to run all the way down one side of the commons, and it was small. It was a tiny, tiny stream. It was deep, but there wasn't a lot of expansion to it. Um, Whereas when they rerouted the river and kind of made it a bit more swervy, made it wider. Whereas the original one was very narrow, small, and then the new one kind of does this more, so it's got a bit of a wider bit to it, but we're still flooding. So I think there's, from what I can work out from the sensible comments, yes, dredging rivers, dredging the mill pond, dredging Castle. I think just dredging Castle Pond would make a massive difference. Digging Castle Pond down and creating, a deeper basin in Castle Pond, um, to store another, couple of thousand litres and to then drain it in would be, to me, makes sense in winter. I think the issue is you've got that, and then you've got set, and this is where the other bit of that kind of comes in. We need to do that in a lot of the rivers and all the way back up, but that's gone. That's gone. That's 14, 15 years of cuts after cuts after cuts after cuts. You know, it's not happening anymore. And at some point, if you want that to happen, you have to pay for it. So yeah, we kind of we've shot ourselves in the foot by not doing that. But then we've got this bit where the barrage wasn't opening, and NRW put out this statement saying, "Well, it will drain. It just drains through the sluice instead of out of the barrage." That barrage is so I've seen them back there today with a crane. So hopefully that means that work's going to start to put the barrage back together. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But that barrage is what 10, 15 foot wide, maybe 20 foot wide, and as deep again on that probably. Um, if you open that, a lot of water gets out very, very quickly. Um, so it's not a case of, will it drain? Yes, it will drain through the sluice, but it won't drain anywhere near as quickly as opening that gate. Um, you know, it's a bit like it's a simple maths question. If you've got that sluice is letting out 100 liters a minute, and you've got 1,000 liters a minute coming in, that's where the issue is. It's building up and it's going to go somewhere. Um, so the debris gate, the trash gate, as it was called, apparently did its job. That's the one that I could see on the video. One of the videos that I did. It's oh my god, it was rank. But I think a lot of that it's scooped up a lot of debris, a lot of dead wood, a lot of leaves, a lot of rubbish. There was a lot of rubbish, human generated rubbish. There was a lot of it in there. So, that's on us to monitor that. And I still see that on my daily walk. I still see cans and this, that, and the other. And if I didn't have two dogs and I had a spare hand, I'd take a bin bag around with me every day and pick stuff up. And I might try and find a way of doing it. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff in there which is our responsibility as well. This isn't other people's responsibility. There's stuff in there which is our responsibility. If we want leaves cleared, then yeah, we're gonna have to pay for it. Or and this is something that I've said before, we get a volunteer team together that just cleans up our town. That just goes, do you know what? We've had a whole load of leaf fall. Let's clean up the leaf. And we don't even need to dispose of it. There are parts of the town that need lots of leaf. If we spread all of those leaves, yeah, mulch them up, spread the leaves, and then there's a machine that kind of not fires them in, but it kind of digs them into the ground so they don't come back out. That solves a lot of issues on the commons. It improves the drainage on the commons. It improves the quality of the grass on the commons. There's all of these crazy things, but that can be done with a volunteer team. So yeah, there was a whole load of stuff that just wasn't right. I spoke to the lady her basement flooded. So I took some photos on Tuesday and again on Wednesday of the walkway that runs down the back of the commons. So from with this, so there used to be a pub on the narrow bit going through to Moncton. So and the sign for that pub is on the side of the house. It's a white house now. I don't know. I don't know the lady's name, but she was quite upset, obviously, because it had flooded and it was just her. It was literally just her trying to sweep stuff away, tons and tons of debris away from the drains and all that. So there's things like that. If we look after our town, we look after all of our town. And I think that's there are 10,000 of us in Pembroke, and I felt a bit guilty that I couldn't do more to help her. Again, two dogs, my boots were soaked. I was late for work, so yeah, maybe we need to do something. Maybe we need to put stuff together to clear leaves, to move the debris around. Why? And I don't know the answer to this. Why there were no pumps moving water from Castle? We knew that the barrage was closed and couldn't be opened. So why were there no pumps moving it from one side to the other? You know, 3 days before that rain came, I said to my wife, "We're in for a rough ride weather-wise this week," because you could see it on the forecast. So if I'm picking that up and I'm going, "Wow, that we're things are going to happen this week," they knew that barrage wasn't working. There should have been pumps in place to move the water out of, and I'm talking beforehand, not just on the day, but beforehand, you lower the level of Castle Pond and you go, right, bump out. And you create a million litres of space in Castle Pond. I'm not saying it would have solved all of the issues, but it would have helped. Castle Pond still had another, I'd say, 5 or 6 foot, um, where it could. And again, I say 5 or 6, so it's got 5 or 6 foot on one side, but then it was flooding over by Rocky Park, you know. So the bank on one side is up here, and on the other side it's down here. So it's only ever going to get to this level, and then when it gets to here, it's all buggering off up into Rocky Park. So we should have had something in place. We should have had something in place to lower the level of water in the mill pond. Bring it right the way down to nothing. Bring it right the way down to nothing, which had been done a couple of weeks before when they were removing the barrage. They had to make that a dry area, so it's doable. But why was nobody there going, right, this is coming, and the bit that we would normally do is we'd drop the barrage at low tide. The water goes out, we'll raise it at high tide, we'll drop it again when it goes down, and all of the water can go out. And then when it rains, it just fills that Castle Pond. I say it wouldn't have stopped all of the issues, but it certainly would have lessened them, and it certainly would have moved that water out quicker. So yeah, that's my kind of chatty bit for this week. I just it must be very, very frustrating for people living around the commons. Businesses on the commons. I've spoken to a couple of businesses who were like, thankfully they weren't badly affected, but they lost 2 or 3 days worth of trade. You've got places that's a main road through the town and struggling to do stuff. So we definitely need to have a think about how we do stuff in future. And if we know that there's going to be a problem, then let's put things in place to deal with that problem. It's silly stuff, I know, but to me, that's really frustrating that somebody didn't think. Somebody went, the gate is closed. There's a whole load of debris. The leaves on trees have literally done a month's worth of a drop in a week. Um, we've got a number of issues that are all adding up to this problem. So, yes, that is my chatty bit for the week. I'm talking to myself again, but there we go. Okay, so before I do, wouldn't it be nice if you could give us a quick subscribe? I can never remember which side it is. It's either here or here. There's a subscribe button. Makes a massive difference to us, and it lets you know when one of our towncasts is available. You'll get a little thing that says you subscribe to Towncast, and Towncast Pembroke is now available. So what it actually does is it sends a message to YouTube that says, I'm this person and this is where I live, and I like listening to that podcast. So YouTube then goes, well, there's a whole load of other people in that area that are similar to you. They might like to watch that podcast as well. And that's how it recommends it. You'll quite often see on your recommended page. So yes, that's how you can help us, and it'll make sure that you know all of the stuff that's going on when we publish the videos and things like that. Okay, moving on quickly then. So wouldn't it be nice? I was kind of struggling on wouldn't it be nice, because a lot of the stuff that I go wouldn't it be nice is very Christmas orientated. and I wanted to kind of leave some of that for the future. Um, and then I was looking at the castle pond, and I was walking around the castle, and some of the bits of the path in the castle are coming away. Okay, so there is subsidence. There's a bit of subsidence over on the Rocky Park side as well. Not for houses or anything, just bits of stuff falling away and what have you. Um, so yeah, I was looking around the side of Mill Pond, not Mill Pond, sorry, Castle Pond, and I was thinking, I spent a bit of time in Neyland, and then I'd spent a bit of time in Milford as well, and just looking at some of the regeneration that's happened in the marina in Milford, and I just thought, do you know what? Pembroke Castle Pond would be ideal for a regeneration project. And I don't mean just putting other shops there that will kill off Main Street. It's not what I'm thinking at all. I'm thinking more activity-based things that would draw people in, stuff that isn't there at the minute. But we've got this massive area around the outside of Mill Pond that we're not doing anything with. Um, that appears to be a dumping ground for JCBs, one part of it. Um, but it does just seem to be sitting there waiting for somebody to come along and look at it all and go, actually, we could do something. It would be a great place to have a live venue. It'd be a great place to have um an activity hall. Have you seen like you can almost play Mario Kart now where you send a digital signal as you're driving around and you can like throw bombs and all of those kind of things. Um, it's got the space there. We could there's a massive fuss whenever you mention the word Blue Lagoon. There's a massive fuss about why aren't we allowed to use Blue Lagoon? Well, because it's a private business. But we could build one there, and it would act as a magnet to bring people into Pembroke, particularly on wet days. You know, um, on sunny days in Pembrokeshire, people go to the beach. End of. It's That's pretty much what happens. But there's more days where it's not sunny than there are days when it's sunny. Even this long hot summer that we had, there were still days where it was like, right, okay, we had a couple of sunny days, and then it's a bit overcast or a bit windy, and you go, okay, what do you do then? So yeah, I just think it would be nice to have that area developed as a bit of a, I don't know, a bit of a activity centre, a bit of a cultural centre, a bit of a. I would love around there to have a like a landscape artist of the year style competition for the castle. We could have a gallery there, and we could display all of this. There's loads of stuff that we could do that wouldn't impact the town centre, that would bring people into the town centre and generate interest. So yeah, yeah, it would be nice to do. It's a massive project. It's a massive, massive project. But if I win the lottery tonight, 95 million or whatever it is, I'll do that. Um, yeah, the key bit there now is step one is play the lottery. So, yeah, but to me, we've got a massive area there that we could be doing something with, and it's a real shame to not make something of it. And it could be a real asset to the town to bring more people in, keep them here longer, spend more jobs for local people, more business for local people. Um, all of that can only be good for the local economy. So that would be my it's nice for this week on that. So thank you for your time and patience on there. Okay, let's go do some sport. Okay, so looking at the rugby results as we do usually. So starting with Pembroke, a defeat at home against Newcastle in seconds. Bit disappointing because we were talking last week about what they needed to do to move up the table. So, it's a very congested middle of the table there. So that drops Pembroke basically from third down to fifth now. So Newcastle Emlyn have overtaken. Um, yeah, a bit disappointing from last week. You can see there St David's beat Tenby, so that puts them up as well. And yeah, away we go. So this weekend, so you'll see the kickoff time is 1:30. That is because there's an international on. I believe international kickoff is at 4. You'll need to check that. But Pembroke playing St David's at home this weekend on okay. So yeah, looking at that table, St. David's, it just takes, another win against St. David's and we're back up. We've got that game in hand. It starts to kind of work. Oh, this is going to be a nervous season. It's going to be a nervous season. Right, let's look at football. Let's look at football. Otherwise, I'm just going to get my knickers in a twist on that one, and we're going to be all over the place for ages. Right. No, I'm down in the cup football. That's fine. I'm not even looking at football. Okay, let's look at the football then. Let's see what's happening. Oh, keeps doing this in the Pembrokeshire League. Okay, so Division One results from last week. Now, we spoke last week about the big game, and the big game was this Swift against the Robins. I was expecting a much, much closer game than that. I think we're all expecting a close game. 7-0, the Swifts won against the Robins. I mean, that's sending out a massive message there. So back up to second, 10 points away from Hakin, which is a bit of an issue. One game in hand, so it's not enough to overcome that. But we're where we need to be. We're where we need to be on that. So fixtures for this week then. So Carew host Fishguard Sports and the Swifts travel to Hakin United. So let's just look at that table again. Hakin United on top, Swifts in second. This week's fixtures, Swifts against Hakin United. So two massive games back to back for the Swifts last week, just because it was a local derby. This week, this is the game. This is the game that the Swifts are going to need to target if they're going to take that top spot. Because this is a 6 point swing. It's a 6 point swing. Whoever wins this really has momentum then for the rest of the season. So best of luck to the Swifts on this weekend for that one. Let's have a look in Division 2. Division 2, so Kieran Reserves are still having a rough season. To be honest, to hold Hakin United to 3-1, they've actually done really well there. So, yeah, well done. Well done only losing 3-1. It still puts them in a really difficult position. Swift Reserves beat Solver 5-2. We're not going to look at where Kira Reserves are because that's just, it'll hurt your neck down there. But Swift Reserves, mid-table, 15 points, but plenty of sides within reach on 15 points. Fixtures for this weekend then. Yeah, say Swifts travel to Johnston. That'll be an interesting game. And Carew Reserves travel to Neyland on that. Division 3 tends to be a quick one for us. So we always cover Loreni. So Loreni drew 2-2 with Camrose Reserves there. Yeah, and a couple of other scores around there as well. So who else have we got in there? Yeah, no one there. So Loreni host Broadhaven this weekend. There's a couple of other fixtures in there that might be interesting to you, but I'm just going to focus on that. Those are mainly to do with that Pembroke Dock one on there. Okay, Division 4. Division 4 results from last week. So Hundleton and Angle, so another local derby. Hundleton have been chipping 10 and scoring 9 all through the season. So to hold Angle to 5-2, yeah, done all right there. But so Angle come out on top of that one, 5-2 winners. Manabia put 10 past Johnston seconds. That's a bit of a big one, isn't it? St Florence, when I remember, I chucked St Florence in there. They beat Milford 3-1. So where does that leave everyone in the table? St Florence and Angle top of the table. 28 points, 25 points, and then Hundleton mid-table, Manorbier one off the bottom. On the fixtures for this weekend, then Hundleton hosts St Florence. That'll be a high-scoring game. That one. Angle travel to Milford Athletic. That's it for us. Oh yeah, because they did play each other. Okay. Let's move on to Division 5 then. Results in Division 5. Loreni Reserves beat Milford United Thirds 3-0. And I think that is it. Where does that leave? Bum, bum. Loreni Reserves. Yeah, starting to creep up the table. Starting to move away from that bottom end of the table. That's what we were looking for. We're just picking up the points here and there wherever you can. So fixtures for this weekend: Loreni travel to Narberth, yeah, Narberth in third. So yeah, you're aiming for a draw there on that. Fantastic. Okay. So that's all in the sport done. Please do share my the Christmas guide. It's on lots of different towncasts, and they've all got little individual ones. So please do share that bit. I will try and put it on socials. I'll clip it as a video and I'll put it out there. Um, next week we're going to do menus. So if you've got a Christmas menu, if there's somewhere that you like, you've got a Christmas menu, please do let me know. Make my life easy because I spent hours researching that Christmas one. But if you can tag me on that, that will be really, really handy. Or if you just want to send it in, that'd be great. So until then, until next week, I hope you have a great one. The weather's going to be a bit awful again, so stay safe, stay dry, and let's make Pembroke proud. All the best.